We are in the year 2003. After a series of murders by a masked killer known as the Sweetly Slasher, the town of Sweetly in Minnesota is in the middle of a lockdown. The police have imposed a night curfew. However, defying the order, a bunch of high school kids throws a party in the barn in memory of their dead friends, Emmy, Brian, and Val. Summerfield joins the party though she is still dealing with the deaths of her close friends. Her lifelong friend Quinn meets her outside. Before he can hand her an envelope, she is whisked away by Ethan, who asks her to dance. Meanwhile, the masked killer arrives at the party in the back. Inside, Ethan asks everyone to raise their glasses as he goes on and wishes the killer is caught and punished for what he has done to the town. In the middle of their conversations, Ethan accidentally spills his drink on Summer. She leaves for the bathroom behind the house to clean herself. As she steps inside, the killer watches her hiding behind her. Meanwhile, the police arrive at the party and shut it down, asking everyone to leave. Summer is surprised to see the killer behind her in the bathroom and manages to dodge his knife attack and run away. The killer goes after her. She shouts for help, but her voice is drowned in the sea of cars honking as they scramble to leave the barn. Seeing the killer coming for her, she hides inside the barn. But the killer finds her, making her fall from the haze, running for the door. However, the killer lunges at her with his scythe, killing her. 20 years in the future, 2024. We meet a high school student, Lucy Field, who feels largely invisible as the entire town is still fixated on the date of her sister's death 20 years ago. She goes to her Science 4 teacher, Mr. Fleming, and tells him about her acceptance for an internship at NASA. When he asks her if she has told her parents, she thinks they would not care as they are too busy today. Later, Lucy discovers the town is still obsessed with the murders as the killer was never found. Before she is taken to the victim's shrine, Lucy finds a letter in Summer's room from a mysterious E, telling her she will regret not being with her. Later, after the family is finished paying respect to all the victims, Lucy is by the car and notices a light flashing from inside the barn. She decides to check it out and steps inside, only to accidentally find a time machine. As the machine comes alive, two beams of light collide to create an energy force, resulting in a small explosion. Lucy runs outside and finds her parents disappeared. Now beginning to panic, she reaches the city center and discovers she is no longer in the year 2024 and has traveled back in time. She enters Sweetly High and finds herself in the middle of tasseled jeans, high boots, Walkmen, and the deadly Nokia. Completely in disbelief, her trance is broken when she sees her sister Summer pass her by. She follows her and sees Val and Emmy are alive too. She learns Summer has dumped Ethan, who is struggling to understand why she dumped him all of a sudden after 2 years of being together. Lucy enters the science lab and finds a younger version of Mr. Fleming. She asks him about his thoughts on time travel. As he gets weird with his explanation, another student, Quinn, drops a jar. As a science whiz, Quinn explains to Lucy how time travel is a horrible idea as it can create multiple paradoxes. Lucy steps outside, only to find Ethan and others taking Quinn away. She finds out it's a tradition in the school for seniors to throw someone in the lake every year. Everyone begins to cheer as they prepare to drop Quinn in the lake. But Lucy stops them and pushes Ethan onto the pier. This surprises everyone but amuses Lucy, who thinks it's funny. Summer notices Lucy. When Quinn tells her he does not need her help, she tells him he is lucky he is not in her school. Else he would have been viral by now on Twitter. But she finds out Quinn does not know what Twitter is. Later she tells him she is from the future. Not believing her, she hands him her iPhone, showing him how it works. Now she has his attention. As she begins to answer his millions of questions about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Paris Hilton, Summer joins them and asks Quinn for her homework. After Summer leaves, Lucy takes Quinn to the barn and shows him the time machine. Quinn takes the machine to his garage, where they figure out they need another Sunner capsule to make it work again, so Lucy can return home. However, Quinn reminds her they need to work out a plan as they can't enter the nuclear factory. Lucy tells him Hess' dad works in the factory. Lucy asks Quinn a hypothetical question, if he would help someone knowing they were in danger? Quinn tells her no, asking her not to change the past. Driving Lucy to her home, Quinn finds out Lucy is Summer's sister. He warns her not to talk to her family. There is too much risk. However, Lucy asks him not to worry. She will be out of there with her dad's ID in no time. Summer takes Lucy inside and introduces her to her parents, who invite her for lunch. In the evening, Summer helps Lucy dress for their trip to the mall. Finding a photo of Val, Lucy asks Summer if she would help someone knowing they were in danger, even if it meant there could be more trouble later. Summer tells her that she will. Lucy asks her what time the mall closes. As Summer tells her 9, Lucy runs out the door. Meanwhile, the Sweetly killer finds Brian on the floor looking for his CD. He breaks it in half and stabs him in the throat with it, killing him instantly. Before he can kill Val too, Lucy arrives at the scene and manages to distract the killer and take Emmy away. However, the killer goes after them and finds Emmy misstepping and struggling to climb the escalator. One of the guards hears their shouts and comes to help. But it's too late as the killer pushes Emmy's face to the gears of the landing platform and kills the guard too, all to the horror of Lucy. Later, Quinn takes Lucy to his boat. When she tells him it's her fault that the guard died too, as it only made the Sweetly killer even more deadly now, this comes as a surprise to Quinn, who did not know the killer was a serial killer. He asks her if they even found the killer. She tells him her mother always suspected the killer was Ethan. But she did not have any proof. He asks her not to worry about the killer but to focus on fixing the machine. So, she can go back home. Later at night, she sneaks into her home and tries to take the badge away. But she is caught by Summer, who asks her how she knew about the crime in the mall before it happened. When Summer pushes her for an answer, she tells her she is her sister, and she is from the future. She then hands her the letter she has brought with her, telling her it is her letter. When Summer tells her she has never seen the letter before, Lucy asks her why she would make it all up and walks away. Lucy goes to Quinn's garage and finds out he has successfully worked out the problem of the missing energy source they need to start the time machine and create a singularity strong enough to take her back to 2024. It's antimatter. Meanwhile, Summer finds the letter Lucy has handed her from the future and begins to believe in her. Lucy decides to hack Summer's website to find out how to get into their plant for antimatter. But she is surprised to see Quinn is still on modem internet. As she goes over the site, Quinn asks if she has to leave at all. He finds out she is not too keen to return to 2024 either, as she feels invisible in the time she is from. He too shares his wish to see into his future if he can make the machine again. Summer joins them and tells Lucy she believes her now. As she asks her a bunch of questions about the future, Lucy lies to her that she has a great life ahead, including a handsome husband. This surprises her. When she asks her if they ever found who murdered Val and Brian, Lucy tells her she does not know as she has not seen all the murders yet. This freaks out Summer, who demands to know who is the killer's next victim. Lucy tells her it's Emmy. Though they know it's a bad idea, they still decide to help Summer save her friend. However, what surprises Lucy the most is Quinn changing his position on the danger of time travel so quickly. Not soon thereafter, they reach the Marine Museum and start looking for Emmy, who is in the middle of cleaning the place listening to music. The killer arrives there too. Lucy sees Emmy on the other boat and begins to panic when the killer gets closer to Emmy. She tries to warn her but she can't hear her with music blaring in her headphones. As they run to the other side, Emmy drops her CD player, stopping the music. Lucy calls her through the window, warning her about the killer behind her just in time. She manages to take her away before she is killed. Later that night, Lucy asks Quinn if they can save the next victim too. Quinn gets mad at her for not telling him the next victim is Summer, telling her why they are still here and not driven across the state lines with her. Quinn asks her to tell Summer. Later that night, Lucy finds out Summer is gay and is in love with Emmy. She promises her the future is better for Summer, even if things are not perfect and people have made progress in 2024. However, she fails to tell her about her murder. The next morning, she wakes up and catches her parents in the middle of their breakfast. When she asks them if they are ever planning to have another kid. This comes as a surprise to them. But they tell her Summer is all they will have and care to have. She grabs her dad's ID and leaves. She arrives at Quinn's garage and finds a letter he has written for Summer, expressing his desire for her. Just then Quinn walks in and finds out Lucy has not told Summer about her murder yet. When Lucy tells her about her dilemma about saving Summer and not being born in the future, something that will erase her from the future, Quinn refuses to allow it and lets Summer die. Lucy shows him his letter for Summer, making him walk away. Later when she tells Summer about her dilemma of saving her, Summer tells her it's okay to want to live and she can't blame her for that. But Lucy tells her she does not want to live if she is not in her life again. She then tells her about a plan that could make both of them live. She asks her to trust her. At night she goes to break into Summer's plant for antimatter and finds Quinn waiting for her. He decides to join her. Together they step inside the factory. Meanwhile, Summer arrives at the party, prepared, and joins Ethan as they enter the barn. Back to the plant, Lucy uses her dad's car to get access to the building. She tells Quinn the plan is to kill the murderer so everyone can live. Back at the party, Summer raises a toast for Emmy and kisses her, telling her she should have done this a long time ago. Summer asks Emmy to remember her. When she asks her why she is saying as if it's the last time, Summer walks away. As the killer walks into the party, Quinn asks her what made her change her mind about saving Summer. Lucy tells him she got to know her better, realizing she is no longer an image but a real person, her sister. She tells him she has to try. Walking outside, Summer sees the killer as he pulls out his knife and comes after her. She takes him inside the barn and keeps the door open for him to come after her. Back in the plant, as Quinn and Summer enter the lab, they find the antimatter missing from its chamber. Soon they realize someone has beaten them to it. The killer is from the future and the machine belongs to him. Realizing the killer may be one step ahead of them, Lucy grabs another set of antimatter and leaves. Meanwhile, the Sweetly slasher corners Summer in the barn. As she prepares to be slaughtered, Lucy and Quinn crash their truck into the barn door, flooring the killer. As they begin to leave, the killer regains consciousness. However, the gear is stuck, making Quinn unable to back his truck. The killer steps forward and removes his mask, revealing himself. This shocks everyone, as they see it's Quinn from the future. Even Quinn is surprised. Before the killer can put his scythe to work again, Quinn manages to reverse his truck and drive away, leaving the future Quinn hanging his scythe. Soon, they arrive at Quinn's boat. Quinn promises Lucy he will never become that monster in the future, asking her to believe him. Lucy believes him. They walk into the room and put the antimatter into its designated chamber, as it begins to charge. But the future Quinn follows behind them. Quinn asks him what happened to him. The future Quinn tells them he had a terrible time growing up in the Sweetly High and everyone was nasty to him. He begins to blame Summer for making things worse. He reminds her of his letter, that he wrote for her, pouring his heart out. But she rejected him and broke him. Telling him that's when he came up with the plan to murder all the shitty people in his life and disappear, without a trace. As he steps forward towards Summer, younger Quinn picks up a blade and puts it to his neck, warning him to leave Summer alone. Meanwhile, the charging is almost complete. The machine comes alive and begins to emit lights and smash a pair of beams, as Lucy tells older Quinn that he may have prepared for everyone but he did not prepare for her. As the beams begin to create an energy force in the room, Lucy drags Quinn toward the machine. With the tiny explosion, they come back to the future, along with Quinn's knife. Quinn grabs it and goes after Lucy. Lucy finds a Tesla electric charger and defends herself with it. Quick attacks her with the knife but stabs the charger instead, frying himself. Moments later, she finds him waking up and stabs him with his knife, killing him this time. She takes away his cane of antimatter too. Back in 2024, Summer and Quinn begin to mourn their loss and wonder what has happened to Lucy and the killer. But Lucy returns, bringing smiles to their faces. As they walk away, Lucy tells them the slasher is gone and she came back because no one remembers her in 2024, not even her parents. As the movie ends, we see Lucy is happy in her past, where she has with her all her friends and her family who love and care for her. She even manages to get the internship she never got in her past future. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.